Welcome to The Art of Being Unstoppable, the podcast where women from every walk of life come together to break barriers, embrace their power, and live life on their own terms. I'm your host, Vicki McDougall, and each week we explore inspiring stories, actionable strategies, and empowering conversations to help you step into your confidence, amplify your voice, and create a life without limits. No matter where you are on your journey, this is your space to grow, thrive, and become unstoppable. Welcome back to another episode of The Art of Being Unstoppable. And I have a very special guest today. This is Regina. She is my soul sister. We met recently, but we really connected. And, my mission is to allow women to have their voices heard, allow us to touch as many people as we possibly can. So putting this out globally, and that's what we're really working hard to do. And Regina is here to share her story and her knowledge and all of her expertise in life. So Regina, thank you for being here today.
Thank you for having me. And yes, I really do. I feel like you were like sent from beyond. We
I agree with you,
connected.
girl. I do. I
Yeah,
agree with you 100%. I do. I do
it's
really, really do.
fantastic.
And it just makes me smile. And I feel like that's what I've been doing this last little while is I just smile all the time now because I've met some incredible people. And, I think when you can align yourself with people, like-minded people, or women that see the power that they have within and they've learned how to express it and share it, there's nothing like it. So I want you to share a little bit about yourself, my dear.
Sure. First of all, you're dead on. I feel like when we sit in the power of our femininity and know who we are and can really just accept that we are beautiful and perfect and we were given very special gifts from Mother Nature, from God, from whatever you believe in. Um, we have the power to make this world a really beautiful place. And I think it took a long path for me to get there. Um, I went through a 22-year abusive marriage, my son coming out and his father, saying every horrific thing that a father could ever say to their child, um, finding out, so many things that our bodies kind of shut us down and block out for us until we're through the danger period. Um, and I look back at all those years and I could be one of two people. I could have let that define me as being just a negative Nancy, grumpy, bitter, nasty lady. Or I
Mhm.
can say, you know what? My maker gave me the ability to make it through that, and there's a reason. Um, and just yesterday, I met a beautiful soul who has a life very similar to my past life, and I am now seeing through her. She's walking a very different walk than I did, and her husband have a chance to make it work, and that's beautiful, and I hope for her that it does. But I'm also getting to see that God allowed me to live through the experiences I did so that I can hopefully help another woman make it through similar experiences without the pain, without the feeling alone and feeling like I can't talk about it. And knowing that, like, when we can get through the other side, I went from living a life hoping nobody saw me to thriving. And now I don't care who sees me. There's going to be people who don't like me, and that's okay. You don't have to,
Nope.
because you know what? At the end of the day, I like me, and the people I spend my time with like me, um, and that's all that matters. And so that allowed me to, in my journey, I wanted to turn lemons into lemonade. So I started my own coaching business to try and help other women make it through whatever their rut is, whatever their thing that they're stuck in is. For me, it was weight. For some women, it's letting go of control. For others, it's finances. For others, it's some other health condition that they have been just battling day
Yeah.
after day, week after week. Um, and thankfully, My maker let me learn how to do that holistically. It was, dealt with it for myself, little baby pieces at a time.
Hmm.
Let's try and lose 10 pounds. Just watch what you eat. Just watch what you eat. Lose the 10 pounds. Then something happens in life, stress comes up, gain 20 pounds back. Okay, now let's lose 20, let's lose 20, let's lose 20. Um, it wasn't until I finally said, like, but why do I keep gaining, losing, gaining, losing, gaining, losing? Um, that I was able to see, like, for me, it was I eat my emotions.
Hmm.
Happy, I'm going to eat. Sad, I'm going to eat. Ex-husband did something horrific. He brought me a pint of ice cream
Yeah.
or a candy bar.
Yeah.
I'm going to eat it. Um, so it
Yeah.
wasn't until I really dove in and like said, what's the root? What's in here? What am I trying to mask? So I'm working with women to try and figure that out. And each of us is different, but we have the same underlying thing. And it's
Hmm.
something that we're trying to silence, whatever that is.
Hmm.
Um, and once we can deal with what's underneath there, then these like aha, beautiful moments start coming to light where we're able to say,
Oh, yeah.
holy cow. So all
Hmm.
this other stuff was really because of this little thing over here in my life.
Yeah.
So it's really it's interesting because we're so different, but we're also so the same.
Yeah.
Um, so it's just been a really fun journey that God led me on through divorce and something that should have been really ugly. Um, I now get to turn into something really beautiful
Hmm.
and hopefully help a handful of other women, you know, come out and then do the same thing in their life,
That's
however
it.
they want to make the world
Yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah. It's a ripple effect, right? It's like, and
100%.
when you're aligned, like you had just said, when you're aligned, you are aligned. And then
Mhm.
it is source, creator, God, Mother Nature, whatever you believe in, like you just said, will bring it all and it'll align with you. Because our energies, I have found not one woman that I wasn't aligned with on these calls in this last 2 weeks. Not one. Not one woman's story was, and I don't mean different because we're all so different in our stories because we've all been through something different. And there is that gap, but not one woman had a judgment. Not one woman had a, well, that's not how no, none of that, none of this competition, none of this fight for who knows more and what works best, because it's not about those things. It's
Right.
not. It's about you discovering what's in here. Like you have said, you figured it out and now you get to give it away.
Exactly. And when we all realize each of us has this special gift, whatever it is, I know myself enough to know I have the gift of love and caring and kindness. They are just ingrained in who I am. Someone else may be like, oh, those are not my strengths, but I'm really good at analytics and research and data.
Yep.
Cool. You know what? I can do those things, but I hate them. They are, ugh, they're
Yeah.
not my favorite space. I like
No.
once it's all compiled and I get to see like where are the trends, but like those two together make a really good team.
Hmm.
And when as women, we can come together and say, you know what, Susie on my left and Mary on my right have very different gifts than mine. But when we use them together, we are an amazing team and we can be unstoppable.
Yes.
It just becomes gorgeous.
It is. It's
And
a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful
yeah,
thing. It
it's a
so is.
momentum that you can't stop.
That's right. And you know
Yeah.
what? I heard you say too, and I want to kind of circle back because there's so much in your story. And I mean, we talked for quite some time because we had then very many similarities, very many differences, but so many similarities. And how old was your son when he came out?
He came out to me, I believe, when he was 17 or 18. Um, and he and I have always been two peas in a pod. And he texted me, and that broke a piece of my heart. Um, And I look down at my phone and I see this, "Mom, I need to tell you something," followed by the way he said it. And I remember he worked down the street from me. My first response was, "I love you, but what time is your break? Because we need to talk face to face." And so he tells me what time his break is and drive down to his work. It was about 2 minutes away. And met him at his car and I just gave him a big hug. And I was just like, "First of all, I can't believe you told me via text." And he looked at me and he was like, "Mom, you are the one person who I knew would accept me. But if you hesitated, it was going to break me." And in that moment, I was like, "Oh, dang, I can see that one." Like I can feel that like in my heart. I can just
Yeah.
feel how painful that would have been for him, right? Um, and it took him another several years before he finally told anybody else. Um, and so he and I sat on that secret for a very long time together. Um, and it was beautiful to watch him find the confidence to start telling people,
Mhm.
and to watch him start to kind of step into his own. But we come from a very religious family, and he knew there were people in our life that would not accept him, his dad being one of them. And, as much as I tried to do legwork for my son in advance, you can't change another human's beliefs. And he was right. My son was right.
Yeah.
His dad didn't accept. Um, and for a little bit, I was really upset with his dad and really mad at him. And I think that's a fairly human reaction, right?
Absolutely.
Um, but at the same time, it was this really eye opening moment of, have you read The Let Them Theory?
Mhm.
Okay,
Yes,
I
I
love
have.
The Let Them Theory.
Mel Robbins is one of
Anybody
my,
who,
like, oh, I love her.
yes. So anybody who hasn't, please do. And this will
Please
make more
do.
sense. Um,
Absolutely.
but I finally got to a point where I was able to say, you know what,
Mhm.
let him be bigoted, let him make his own bed. Um, I will not jeopardize my relationship with my child. My kid is, I am a mama bear through and through.
Mhm.
Um, and when I finally saw how beautiful it was to let go of that, right? To say, holy cow, that is not me. That is so not who I am. So you do you. And you
Yeah.
know where we're at today? I have the relationship. I get to see my son and his partner fall in love and build a life and do all these things. And it is beautiful. And
It
I
is.
was there the day, I'll never forget my son, the day we moved out of our house that I had bought with my ex husband. We had a large dumpster, and my son's doing this like rage therapy where he is in the top of this dumpster, just bashing everything, trying to make more room for more trash. He finally hits this moment of exhaustion. He sits down on the side of the dumpster and you can tell he's getting ready to jump off the edge. And out of nowhere, his partner just runs, arms up, grabs him by the armpits, lifts, and I'm just watching this and I'm like, oh, this is love. Like I'm watching your love story unfold. And I start crying and then they're like hugging and they're like, why are you crying? And in that moment, I realized, you know what? Your bigotry kept you from witnessing this.
Mhm.
I get to witness it.
Yeah.
I get to live it with him. I get to watch it with my son. And now I have two sons. And
Yeah.
now I have this bigger family that is just gorgeous. And I've released all of it because he's the one paying that price,
Yeah.
not
Yeah.
me.
That's right.
Um,
I love
so
that
yeah,
you explained it that way, that I felt it. I have tears in my eyes. I'm feeling it. I'm understanding. And then it's not because my youngest son is gay. It's not. It's because I feel the love and I hear it when you talk about it from your toes, that your soul, it's like coming up and you're like, so elated that this is what you got to witness because it is about love. And the let them theory, there is controversy because people say, well, let them, then you're giving up, you're doing. No, no, it's not. It's allowing yourself to let go of other people's thoughts, feelings,
Yep.
bigotry, negativity. Allow them to be who they are on their path. We
Yep.
don't have to define it. We don't have to make excuses for it. We don't have to
Yep.
be a part of it. We can choose to let them.
Yep. Because that's the other part. Everybody forgets there's let them. That's what we hear is let them, let me.
Yep.
Let me choose love. Let me choose light. Let me choose happiness.
And I love that.
Let them be mean. Let them be angry. Let them be full of all of the ugly in this world. I can
Mhm.
make that choice.
Yep.
And I get to choose every day what I allow in me
Yep.
because that's what I get to control is me.
That's right.
And for a control freak, anybody who has ever dealt with abuse, you try and control all of the situations. Is the house clean enough? Is dinner made? Is, blah, 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 like the ripple, right? Like
Yep.
kids' homework done. Is
Yeah.
you're trying to control everything. So for me, the let them theory has been iterations. Like I have to really look inside myself. And then when I start to feel a slip, I have to re listen and be like, okay, where did I go awry?
But that's amazing that you can catch yourself because isn't that what it's about? We're not you were that person for a long time. You
Yep.
were your old version. And that's what I try and say to my clients too. We're not perfect in not making mistakes. We are perfect, whole, and complete. Yes, we are. But when we fall back, it is the old version is coming up because that's what they're so used to doing is helping us get through it, protecting us and allowing
Yep.
us to feel that comfort. Well, you know what? Being uncomfortable is comfortable. When you really look at it, being uncomfortable, me sitting here and getting to know women and feeling their pain and feeling their positivity and their beautifulness, it's just been amazing. But I had to become present for that, and I got to choose to put myself out there and allow my story to be heard and be vulnerable and open up for the better of
Totally.
everyone else as well.
100%. And I don't remember who the researcher is. We just heard it last night in a Bible study. Um, for a long time, we've been silenced as women. I would say, actually, not even just as women, as a society in whole.
Mhm.
Men don't talk about feelings. They don't go to therapy. They've been taught that like masculinity is this like, don't cry, don't, all the
Yeah.
things. And as women, we've been told like, you don't talk about the ugly outside of the household. Like that stays under wraps and hidden. And this Bible study I'm doing, she talked last night about how there's been some scientific research into who grows through trauma the best. In those ways that society has taught us to deal with it are not it. They've scientifically proven, and it was just last night, so I don't have the data or the statistics to cite, but they have shown that the people who make it through and grow the most are those who have a community of support to grieve with them. So, as ugly as it is, and I've been accused of trauma dumping um, by people who still hold that old societal view of keep it internal. Um, if we can talk about it and normalize the fact that I have crap, it doesn't define me anymore.
Oh,
You have crap. It doesn't have to define you. Um, but our crap is what makes us human. And it's also what makes us relatable. And it's what makes us normal on some level because we're choosing to use what has been ugly as well as what's been positive to inform who we become. And when we're choosing to become that version who says, "Ooh, been there," I'm so sorry you're dealing with that. I'm very, very sorry. Here are some tools that helped me, and I can always be an ear for you. I can't fix it for you. You have to be willing to do the fixing yourself, but I can be here for you. Um, that's where that unstoppable strength comes in. And
It's so
we,
true, girl, like,
yeah,
and you heal that much more each time you help someone else by
yep,
opening up, and it's not trauma dumping, and whoever ever said that even came out of anybody's mouth just boggles my mind. I'm sorry, but I'm gonna say that. I know I don't like to say, "Well, put anybody," but no, that's not right, because
yeah,
if I've been through something and I keep it inside, it's breaking me every day. It's making me sick. It's making me unhappy. It's making me a lot of things. As soon as I release it, I can breathe. Then that
yep,
person isn't taking my burden on. They're just sharing their experience with me to help me get through mine.
yep.
What is more beautiful than having that?
It's it is wonderful to be able to hold space for someone else and not to take it. But that's also a practice, right? Like there was a time in my life where someone sharing grief would have meant I would have tried to carry the weight of that
Mhm.
grief for them.
Yeah.
Um, I can't.
No.
I have a girlfriend who recently lost a son. He's 4 years old. I
Mm.
can't even begin to carry that burden for her because I can't even fathom the pain she's in. Cannot begin to even wrap my brain around what she's going through. I could let her bawl. I can bring her food. I can I can do the little things that in all honesty are insignificant because at least that's holding enough space that she doesn't have to think about that small thing,
Yeah.
whatever it is.
Yeah.
You need to scream and yell, scream
Yeah.
and yell. You
Yeah.
want me to go to axe throwing with you? I'll go axe throwing
Exactly.
because that's all I can do,
Yeah.
you
And
know?
it is about community and about pulling instead of, I hear this a lot. Well, I don't know what to say. Okay, I don't know what to say either sometimes, but I'll tell you,
Mhm.
me just holding space for you, I'm not here. People don't want to be fixed. They don't want to be fixed.
Yep,
They just want to feel a connection, to feel like they're not alone, and to feel like there is hope. There is hope. That's what people want is they
yep,
want hope to know that tomorrow is going to be a little bit better. Not gonna be easy.
correct. Nope, and the work is actually very, very hard, and I think that's why and I actually had this conversation last weekend with someone. We were talking and they said something about, "Why do I eat the whole box of Oreos?" And I was like, "I don't know, why do you?"
Yeah,
And they stopped and they're like, "I don't know." And I was like, "Well, I can't tell you why you eat the whole box of
yeah.
Oreos." Um, and they were like, "Oh, crud." I was like, "Hey, you kinda have to look inside and say, like, well, why am I doing this?" And they just looked at me and they're like, "So are you saying I'm the problem?" And I was like, "No, I'm saying the answer's inside of you, and I can't dig
What?
that answer out."
Yeah.
But we have to be able to look inside ourselves enough to say, what am I like what is it in me that is doing this?
Mhm.
Um, my best friend when I got divorced, she was like, "You're gonna hate me for saying this." But she was like, when I went to marriage counseling, the therapist said, "Well, what's your part in this? What's his part in this? Because it's 50-50." And she she was like, "I told that therapist to take a flying leap." None of it was my fault. And then she was like, and then I had to go home and think about it. She was
Yeah.
like, "So in your marriage, what was your part? What was your fault? 22 years together is not all him. What was your part?" And I
Mhm.
looked at her and I was like, "You're right, I don't like you for saying
Right?
saying that." But until I look in me and say, "You know what? I allowed myself to become the masculine. He wasn't the head of the household because I couldn't trust. So then I stepped into it." going into future relationships, now I can say, if I start to feel myself stepping into my masculine, there's a problem. And it's not to say that as a woman, we should never step into that space. But if I am consistently regressing to that, there's a problem with my relationship. And I never knew how to have my voice. I was the girl who I was raped when I was 16 years old. And when the police asked me, actually, I think I was 17, doesn't matter. But the police asked me, there was it consensual or not? Oh, absolutely, 100%. Nobody needs surgery from just a regular encounter with a partner.
Right.
Um, and they asked like 5 times. And I just kept saying, no, it was, because I worked with the person. I couldn't use my voice. I couldn't I couldn't tell the police that because that meant owning that I exposed myself to it and that I put myself in that situation. Through my marriage, it was the same thing. So then finally, now as an adult, I can say, okay, I went through a marriage that broke me. Now I'm learning I have to use my voice, and it's uncomfortable and it's not fun and it's not exciting by any stretch of the imagination. And there's
Yeah.
times where I sit there and tell myself, like, I got to pep talk myself through a
Yeah,
crucial conversation.
for
Um,
sure.
but you have to be able
But
to
it's you've
do it.
also
And
become
until you,
self-aware, right? You've
mhm,
become
and
self-aware because if you're not, like, you realize what and, my coach always says to me, "What you don't know, but when you see it, you can't unsee it."
uh-huh, and you have to be self-actualized, and you
Mhm.
have to be but those are all things that, society tells us. Just buy the new car, just buy the new outfit, just buy, you're going to find fulfillment in all of the things in life. In reality, that fulfillment comes here,
Yeah.
comes from my heart, comes from my center, it comes from grounding myself. Um, and there's no thing that fixes that,
Mm-mm. No, there's
because
not.
I could have a house full of things and
Things.
still be a very miserable human. But
Mhm.
we want that quick fix
Yeah,
and we
we
want
do.
that quick thing. And I hope if women hear one thing, it's not quick, it's not easy, it's
Mm-mm.
doable. And you commit to it and you do the work, you're going to walk away and be like, whoa, who was I?
Yeah,
And holy cow, where was she all these years?
and she's
Um,
always been there.
mhm.
She's
She's
always
just
been
in
there.
hiding.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah,
She's your actual true center.
yeah,
She's your true self.
yeah. Your
And
true
she
essence.
is,
Absolutely. Yes,
yeah,
yes. And I
she's
truly believe,
gorgeous.
yes, she is. She is beautiful. She is perfect. She is whole. She's complete. And she is a badass. That's what I believe. Because I believe that
Totally.
every woman has the ability, their possibilities are infinite. And I had a conversation with another lady, and she was saying the same thing. Like we sometimes play small. And it is for
Yeah.
reasons that maybe they're all different. Sometimes we can't explain them. Sometimes we don't know why, but
Yep.
as soon as allow yourself to get quiet and you ask yourself the questions that are hard to answer, because no one wants to own it at first. You don't. You always want to
Nope.
say it's his fault, it's her fault, it's their fault, it's this person. No one wants to own it.
Nope.
So by you actually saying, yes, he did rape me, that was you owning a part of that. You had did
Yep.
nothing wrong, but you had to own what happened. You had to own the
Yep.
experience. You didn't want to own the experience. You were a young girl, and you were afraid and you were feeling all these feelings, but you you talk about it now and it was what happened because you have owned it. You owned the responsibility that you took not to speak forward and right? And not to now you get to
Mhm.
by speaking about it and saying like that linked you to the relationship that you had with your husband. That linked you, right? Like we make choices in our lives that they're all they're all lessons that we get to learn. And
Yep.
you
There's
learn
it is
a
cyclical.
yes. Yes.
Yep. I mean, I can look back now clearly and say, like, okay, my dad was physically abusive. My step monster was psychologically abusive. Then I had a boyfriend who was physically abusive. Then I was raped. Then I married a man who was psychologically abusive, which in my mind was way better, right? Like, I'm not getting hit. I'm not physically harmed by this. So in my mind, I'm justifying it. Well, from the rape forward, I can tell you that I gained the weight. I gained, I ballooned up to 355 pounds at my highest weight. And I know I went higher because my clothes got tighter, but I refused to get on the scale again. Um, I, and through therapy and inner work and looking back at it, I ate because if I was ugly, if I was fat, if I was overweight, and nobody's going to want to do that to you again because you're not attractive. And I look back at some of my pictures and I'm like, holy cow, I wasn't even smiling. Like you could tell I'm miserable. Well, yeah, because that's not the kind of person that's going to attract attention. And on some level, if I was all of those things in the back of my mind, I'm thinking, well, maybe a heart attack will take me or subconsciously. And then I'm not going to have to deal with going through a battle and a divorce. And he threatened to take both of us off this earth. And it took me finally, I'll never forget the day I decided to leave my ex husband. Um, I told my therapist, I was like, you know what? I'd rather him make good on his threats than live another day like this. And she was like, well, then that sounds like we need to make your exit plan. And we made my exit plan. And I was like, well, at least my kids are 22 and or 20. I think my son was 20. So 20 and 24. They're far enough along in life. If they really have to do this without me, they're good. They'll be golden. Don't want them to by any stretch of the imagination. It's not my desire. But if it happens, I'll be okay. Like they'll be okay. Um, and my therapist just looking at me and I was like, I know how horrible that sounds. And she's like, well, at least you know how bad that sounds. And I was like, that's where I'm at. And so we made the plan. And the big man upstairs interceded and he made a different plan and he kept me safe. And I'm alive and kicking today. And I say that he let me have that because there's something good that comes from from
That's
this.
awesome.
But it took a lot of therapy and it took a lot of that facing and a lot of that saying, like, here's all the crap. And I can hear my therapist to this day when I try and silence myself telling me, you're silencing that little girl.
Yeah.
What does she need you to say right now? And if I can help other women find those tools so that they don't do anything even close, like it could be a totally different spectrum. And there's going to be women with way more intense stories than mine, and ones who hear mine and are like, holy cow, you what, huh? How
Yeah.
did you survive that?
Oh,
Um,
absolutely. But
but
that just
it's
gives
the
it like, Regina, you have opened up and been so vulnerable and took it to an even deeper level of something that most people wouldn't have even been able to say to a therapist, let alone
it's
think, like,
fun.
right? But you did
Mhm.
that. So you wanted the help, but you just didn't know what else to do, and you were gonna protect your kids from it because they were old enough now and you could go.
Yep.
Oh, girl. Mm-mm.
Yeah. I even wrote it. I shared it with the judge. Um, I wrote my goodbye to my kids and I sent it to my best friend because I was like, if I don't make it through Friday night, they need this. Um, and the sad part is society would have said she was, she didn't fight. She didn't work hard enough to get out. No, there's, there's one thing every woman in that situation should know. That part is his, in his alone. Um, and honestly, it took a pastor telling me that. Like I had 20 years of him telling me, you have to forgive. It doesn't matter what I do. duty bound to forgive and forget.
Mm.
And then he cheated on me. And a pastor looked at me and was like, what did I ask the pastor? I said, what's the difference between the couple that makes it through this and the couple that doesn't? And he looked at me and he like shifted in his seat and looked at me and was like, first of all, I need you to hear me. None of the work that happens from here forward is on you. He was like, there are, you have every biblical reason to leave him. This church will stand behind you if you do. And he's like, and you have biblical reasons to leave him that I guarantee you haven't even seen yet. Because just based off of what you've shared with me, there's more. And I looked at him, I was like, okay, but what's the difference?
Yeah.
What makes the couple succeed and what makes the couple not succeed? And he was like, and he shifted fully in his seat and looked at my ex husband and said, it's all on you, buddy. What are you willing to do to make this work? And my ex says, anything. And then pastor looks at me, he's like, what do you want him to do? It's like, counseling. And I want him to get into rehab. And he's like, I can't go to rehab. I won't go to rehab. And our pastor looked at us and he's like, and right there's your answer. If you're not willing to do the work, you're going to lose her. And that's going to be on you. And that was the day that my eyeballs like went, whoa.
Right?
What do you mean I'm not duty bound? What do you
Right?
mean all these things he's been telling me
Right? For
aren't true?
sure.
Um,
Mm.
but we all need those people who will speak that truth to us too.
Yeah, we
And
do.
timing wise, right? Like I had an incident at work that triggered PTSD from my rape. That happened first. Then my ex-husband went off the deep end and we went into counseling and I went into personal therapy. So like it was just like stack, 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 stack. And
Yeah.
so I look at it now and I can laugh because God was putting these signs and these like stepping stones of, okay, Regina, I need you in therapy. I need you to get strong. So he let this PTSD incident happen. Okay, so I'm starting to work on me. That lets me start to see how bad my marriage really is. That lets me start to see all of the things that I need to work on to
Mhm.
accept healthy love.
Yeah. Yeah,
Um, and we have to have someone open our eyes to all of that. And
we do.
I wish I wasn't so hard-headed that God didn't have to like hit me with bricks to get my
I think
attention.
I think that, you know what? Sometimes we don't, until we can hear the voice inside of us, it doesn't
Yeah.
matter how many signs we are shown until we see it for ourselves. And it is
Yep.
literally a voice, a feeling, a knowing. And until that
Yep.
happens, those steps were preparing you for what you needed to do. Yes. And he put them in your path for those reasons.
Yep.
You still needed to take that step. And until you take that step, which you did, and you made that choice to change your surroundings, your life, protect yourself, because you then began to be able to see yourself, not yourself under him or with him.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Yep.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And
I
as
can completely understand that. And it's
yeah.
not, but, you know, for anyone listening, I want you to hear what Regina is saying, because she went through all of those things, and what could have broke her, it could have. You could have lost your life. We may not have been here talking about this together.
Yep.
But the bigger plan was, you can offer women support just by being who you are. Not even
Yep.
telling your story to every woman. You just need to be who you are. Your story is connecting you to every those people that need you, but you have the power to, you are such a light, a bright light, and you have the power to shift so many people's ideas of what normal looks like for them in whatever life
Mhm.
they're in. You know, we all have our own normal.
Yep.
And, you know, I have an ex-husband too, and I did, and, but my normal was different than your normal, but it gave me strength, but I had the power to walk away, and that's where it comes
Yep.
in, is like when it isn't right, ask yourself why. Don't make excuses and reasons, ask yourself, that's all, and then sit with it. You don't have to know the hows and what you have to do from there, you just have to start asking yourself those and look within.
Yep.
So,
And then find
it's
the resources.
yes. Yes, and if it isn't me, and I say this, pretty much on every episode, if it isn't me, it isn't Regina, there's people out there, or we can connect you to someone because there are
Yep.
resources. That's all we're trying to bring to this podcast is awareness for women to know that they're never alone, ever. Community, that's how you got through this. Your community, you're surrounding by those people that you knew would have your back and help you through.
Yep. And that is the whole it's so funny the way you just put that. When I chose my business name, it was because my dog, Gypsy, her name is Gypsy Princess, Gypsy Girl. Those are her nicknames. And my business name is Gypsy Girl Haven. Because if it wasn't for my tribe and my group of women who supported me every step of the way, her being one of them,
Yeah. Yeah,
I never would have survived that. And so that's why I named it Gypsy Girl Haven was I felt like a wandering lost soul. Gypsy was my rock and haven because I want every woman to have a safe space to be who she is as she wanders through this. I am here today, but I want to be over here. How do I get from step A to step B? And then my private page is Gypsy Girl Tribe because in the tribe, we can talk like we're in a tribe and we can be us. Nobody else gets to see except for those of us in that group, and we can just be raw and vulnerable and let it out however it comes out. And you know what? Some people may take offense and some people may not like it. Keep scrolling. Um, but there
yep,
might be a woman in that group who can say, you know what, Betty, been there. Let's talk outside of here.
that's right.
And I want us all as women to have that tribe to surround us because I don't ever want a woman to go through what I went through alone.
Yeah,
And to your point, I may not be the coach for everybody, but I will walk hand in hand with you until you find it. Um, or if you need safety resources, I will tell you the ones that are out there. Um, I will find them if I'm not in your area because we owe that to each other as women.
yeah,
Um,
that's right.
so yeah, it's been a beautiful walk and it's going to be a beautiful world that we all create together
It
because
is, it really
I
is.
feel like this is a movement.
I do too,
Yeah.
and I've said that from the beginning, I want to create a movement, and I didn't realize the steps that I was taking was leading me right here until I did, and once I did, there is no stopping now. And
Yep.
the more people that I meet and the more people that we can bring together on this movement, the more beautiful it becomes. Because women are never alone.
100%.
Never, never, never alone. And just by my tribe, like I have my tribe, and just by me shifting, I look at my daughters and I look at my friends and I look at the people around me and that ripple effect. It's created in my circle and now we can start to do it globally. That's what the intention is. So
Yep.
thank you for today. Um,
Thank you.
all of your information is going to be in the show notes. Uh, absolutely. This won't be the only time that you share this chair with me because we will be
Deal.
absolutely. Um, you know, we're going to all meet and that's my intention. So one day in not so near future, hopefully we're all going to be able to pick a central spot and bring us all together and we're all going to be able to meet each other and actually hug each other in real, not just over the Zoom or the Riverside or whatever. We get to do that and we're spreading this love together and thank you for being a part of it. I really truly cherish you as a person, and I'm really happy to have you in my community as well.
Same here. And thank you for sharing vulnerably. And thank you for listening to your heart and starting Unstoppable because I think as women, we need to know that we are. We can do anything we put our
That's
minds
right.
to, anything our heart calls us
Yes, we
to,
can.
we can do.
Yeah,
So
yeah, for
it's
sure.
fun.
Thank you. Thank you, Regina. Well,
Thank
thank you
you.
everybody for listening. And like I said, Regina's all of her information is going to be in our show notes. And another thing is that Gypsy Girl, that is her. I almost have a hard time calling her Regina because I want to call her Gypsy Girl because it's just you embody that beautiful. And Haven is a safe place, and I love that too. So do know that we will be back again with Regina and another date for sure because we have so much more to talk about. But thank you for being here today, and we'll see you all the next time. Have a beautiful day, everyone. Thank you for joining me on this episode of The Art of Being Unstoppable. Remember, your story matters, your voice matters, and your power is limitless. If you love today's conversation, subscribe, share it with the women in your life, and leave a review to help more women discover their unstoppable selves. I'm Vicki McDougall, and I'll see you in the next episode because your journey to unstoppable starts now.